welcome to my kitchen. I'm Steve, and on this episode of Cooking with Love, I'm going to be making a classical Italian dessert. It's one of my favorites, an Italian rum cake. Now, this rum cake is a little more complicated to make, but I've broken it down into 4 easy steps. I've organized it so anyone could follow this recipe. The first step is going to be making the Italian sponge cake. The second step is going to be making the vanilla and chocolate pastry cream that goes as the filling in the cake. The third step is going to be making the rum syrup because the cake layers get soaked in rum syrup. And then the last step, which we're actually going to do tomorrow, will be making the whipped cream frosting. All right, let's get started. Our first step is to make this sponge cake. The ingredients we need to make the Italian sponge is potato starch, 00 flour, granulated sugar, eggs, and these have been left out at room temperature for about an hour. It's critical that your eggs are not cold to make this work. We're going to need a pinch of salt, a little bit of lemon zest, some vanilla, and then we need a springform pan. This is an 8-inch springform pan. We don't want to put any coating of oil or butter on the inside of the ring. The only thing we're going to grease is going to be the bottom of the pan, and we need a piece of parchment paper. Now, the other thing that we need is our electric mixer, stand mixer, so I'm going to get that set up and I'll be back. I have our oven preheating to 350 degrees. Now I'm going to take our eggs and crack them into the bowl of the stand mixer. Now we're going to add our sugar. And we're going to use the whisk attachment on our stand mixer. We're going to start off by whisking these for a full 5 minutes, and then we're going to stop it, scrape down the sides of the bowl, and then add our zest and a pinch of salt and the vanilla. One thing I forgot to mention is that my mixer actually has speed numbers up to 10. I never go above 6 when doing this. So now we're going to add our vanilla. A pinch of the salt. And some lemon zest. And we don't need a lot, like maybe a quarter to a half a teaspoon. And we're going to save this lemon because we're going to use more lemon zest when we're making our pastry cream. Now we're going to set this back up on number 6. We're going to beat it for another full 5 minutes until the volume of the egg mixture has tripled in size. All right, our mixture has beaten now for a total of 10 full minutes, and you can see it's at the soft ribbon stage, nice and thick and more than tripled in volume. I've combined our 00 flour and potato starch into a bowl, and now we're going to gently fold this into the mixture. So we're going to do about a third. And we're just going to fold it. I've also greased just the bottom of our springform pan. And the last little bit. And you want to make sure that all the flour gets incorporated. All right, into our springform pan. So this is going to go into the oven for 30 minutes. Do not open the oven door till 30 minutes have passed. Otherwise, the cake can collapse. Which has happened to me on more than one occasion. After 30 minutes, we're going to use a cake tester to make sure that the inside is done. Also, do not tap the pan to get rid of air bubbles. You want to leave it as is. So this goes right into the oven for 30 minutes. While our cake is baking, we're going to move on to the second step, and that's to make our pastry cream. Now, the ingredients we need to make the pastry cream is whole milk, egg yolk, so I'm going to separate the eggs, some flour, some sugar, vanilla, lemon zest, pinch of salt, and then these are chocolate chips that we're going to use to make half of the pastry cream we make into a chocolate pastry cream. The other half will stay vanilla. All right, let's get started. First step is to separate our eggs. And we're going to use our mixing bowl for this too. So to our egg yolks, we're going to add the sugar and the flour. And we're going to beat that on a low speed till they're well combined. In a large pot, we're going to add our whole milk. Pinch of salt. And then we're going to add some lemon peel. So I'm just using a potato peeler. I'm taking off just the skin. Now we're going to bring this to a simmer on the stove, and I'm going to mix the egg yolk. Make sure you scrape down the sides, get all that sugar and flour into the egg mix while we're waiting for our milk to come to a slight boil and simmer. Our egg mixture is well incorporated. This is our hot milk now. And what we're going to do is just take some of the hot milk and very slowly drizzle it into our egg mix. It's called tempering. And what we want to do is we're going to slowly raise the temperature of our egg mix so that we can put it into the hot milk without making scrambled eggs. That should do it. And now we're going to introduce our tempered egg mix into the hot milk slowly again. And scrape down our bowl. And this is going to go back onto the stove, and we're going to bring it to a gentle boil. Our pastry cream is just gently boiling. We're stirring it constantly. And we want to cook it for 3-4 minutes. And as you can see, it's starting to thicken up. And before we put this in the refrigerator to cool down, we're going to remove those lemon peels. Our pastry cream is done cooking. I'm going to add vanilla to it now. And I'm also going to remove those lemon peels. Now into 2 different bowls, we're going to split this pastry cream mix. In one bowl, I'm going to put the chocolate chips, and now we're going to evenly divide the pastry cream into the 2 bowls. Now here with the chocolate chips, I'm just going to stir this in and make our chocolate pastry cream. Now, after this is mixed in, you're going to want to pass your pastry cream through a sieve to remove any lumps or little bits of cooked egg that might be in there. So once it's passed through the sieve, we're going to cover it with plastic wrap and put it into the refrigerator to cool down. So make sure when you put the plastic on it that it's laying directly against the pastry cream mix. This will prevent it from forming a skin. All right, into the refrigerator with these, and we can move on to the next step. We're going to check our cake now. And we want to make sure it comes out clean. I'm going to let it go for another 5 minutes. All right, I've given the cake an extra 5 minutes. I'm just going to crack the oven door now and turn off the heat. So we're going to leave the oven door open. It's going to sit in the oven for about 20 minutes. This is to help prevent it from collapse. So our ingredients are water and sugar. That's all you need to make the syrup. And then I'm going to add the rum. This is a dark rum. Now, if you like the cake to be boozy, let your syrup form and cool down, and then add the rum, and you'll get that alcohol flavor in it. But I'm making this cake, and some young ones are going to be eating it, so I'm going to add my rum right with the sugar and water and let the alcohol boil off. So to put this together, we just add our water, our rum, and the sugar. Give it a stir. I'm going to bring it over to the stove and bring it to a boil. Let it boil for about a minute, and then take it off the heat and let it cool down. I have it on high heat, and I'm just going to stir it. And you can see that the sugar has not dissolved yet. When the sugar dissolves, it'll become clear. It'll be ready. The syrup has boiled for about a minute now. I'm just going to remove it from the heat, and we're going to let it cool down. We're going to assemble our cake now. This cake I had cooling in the oven for about 20 minutes with the door cracked open. Then I took it out, let it sit on top of the stove for about an hour, so it's very cool now. First thing we're going to do is kind of release the cake by running a knife around the rim. Remember, we didn't grease the sides, and we did that deliberately. This way it allows the cake to stick to the sides and helps it to rise up so it doesn't collapse. If you do happen, I've had this happen, if you have your cake fall on you when you first open up the oven door, what you can do is take your cake in the oven while it's cooling, turn it upside down, let gravity restore that part of the cake that has fallen. Now, don't get rid of your springform pan just yet, because we're going to use it to hold the assembled cake together. Just going to take off the back and remove the parchment paper. Now, we have to slice the cake, I'm going to turn it over again, into 3 portions. So I'm going to just kind of eyeball it and start to slice. And now the top part. All right. Now I'm going to get a new clean piece of parchment paper, and we're going to be reusing our springform pan. So I put a clean piece of parchment paper in the bottom of the springform pan, and these are our sliced cake layers. I'm going to put this bottom one in the pan first, and this is the simple syrup that we made with the rum, and I'm just going to make sure all the cake is wetted down with this. Now, there's more than enough syrup here. I don't like my cake when I make it to be sopping wet. My sister Beverly likes it that way. So if I'm making it for her, I make it sopping wet. But I like it just to be damp. And I'm making sure there's no dry spots of cake. All right, now that that layer is covered with the rum syrup, we're going to take our chocolate pastry cream and we put that in first. And we want to make sure the entire cake is covered. I get to lick the spoon later. We put our next layer of cake. Some more syrup. I want to make sure there's no dry spots. Now we put our vanilla. And we're just going to put our last layer, and I turned this upside down. I'm just going to put it on the inside there. And this goes on top. Just press it down a little bit, not really hard. Good. And I have a little bit left. I'm going to just brush the top with some of this. All right, now this is going to go into the refrigerator. I'm going to cover it with plastic and then place it in the refrigerator. It's going to sit in the refrigerator overnight. This gives a chance for the cake to firm up, and also some of those flavors will start to melt together. And tomorrow we're going to do the 4th and final step, and that will be to make the whipped cream frosting for it and decorate it. I'll see you tomorrow. Now we're going to complete our 4th and final step. I've had the cake sitting in the refrigerator overnight to allow it to the flavors to melt together and for it to set up. And we're going to be unmolding that in just a moment. The ingredients we need to make the frosting for the cake, it's a whipped cream frosting, is of course heavy cream, some powdered sugar, and this is a trick I learned online. I don't remember where I saw it. But in the past, I've shown you how to make stabilized whipped cream using a clear gelatin. This person, and I wish I could remember her name, she had used instant Jello pudding mix to stabilize a whipped cream. And I've tried it a few times, and it really works well. It's much easier to do than the gelatin. So we're going to be using a little bit of the instant pudding mix. And then to decorate the cake, I'm going to use chocolate shots for the sides of the cake. Traditionally, this cake is made with toasted slivered almonds. However, if you have somebody in the family that's allergic to almonds, this is a very good alternative. And then some maraschino cherries. And I'm going to be using a piping bag just to put a few little decorations on the top of the cake. Of course, we're going to need our stand mixer. I'm going to place this bowl and the whisk into the freezer for about a half hour to really chill down to keep our whipped cream cold. And so the next step is going to be unmolding the cake. We're going to do that now. We have our cake from the refrigerator. And when I refrigerate, I always put a plate underneath it just in case any of the rum syrup leaks out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to run a knife around the edges to make sure it's loose. And unmold it. No. Extras there. All right. Now, we're going to place this cake on this plate first. We're going to turn it upside down. And remove the bottom. And then we're going to place another serving plate, and we're going to flip it right side up again. Good. All right. Now I'm going to place this in the refrigerator while we make our whipped cream. Into the ice cold mixing bowl, we're going to add our heavy cream. And we're going to put it on whipping speed until soft peaks form. All right, now we're going to be adding our powdered sugar and the vanilla pudding mix, instant mix. We'll start it off on slow to incorporate it, and then we're going to finish whipping it. Our whipped cream is ready. And now we're just going to frost the cake. First, I'm going to put a little bit of this whipped cream into the piping bag. And now we're going to frost the cake. All right, our cake is frosted. Now we're just going to add some little florets to it. Good. And we're going to place maraschino cherries on each of them. And the last step is I'm going to add some of these chocolate shots to the side of the cake. Our cake is finished. It's time for the taste test. Now, time for the taste test. It's hard to describe how delicious this cake really is. It's all these flavors are blended together. This brings back so many memories. Growing up, this was the cake that our mother always prepared for us for our birthdays. So it was a real special treat. Now, it made even more special your birthday, and everyone in my family loves this cake. I'm going to bring a piece over to Beverly and Barbara and let them enjoy it. I hope you give this recipe a try. It is a little more time consuming, a little more work, but hopefully I've organized it to make it simple. Give it a shot. We'll see you on the next episode.